Now today I'm joined by Ibrahim Surani, CEO at Astera Software, and we're here to talk about building data platforms with a modern data stack. Ibrahim, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, great to have you on here today, Ibrahim. Could you just walk our listeners a little bit through, who you are, what you do, and who Astera are?
As you said, my name is Ibrahim Surani. I'm the founder and CEO of Astera Software. We are a company based here in Westlake Village, California. I have been in information technology space for about 3 decades. I have been in data management space for over a decade, and that's my overall intro, if you will.
Nice one, yeah, thank you for that. And obviously, we're here to talk a little bit around, building those data platforms. And my first kind of question is, when it comes to data management, how has data management really evolved in the last few years as a priority for modern companies?
Well, data management has evolved in multiple ways over the past years. The most important progress has been the focus on building tools that are easier to use and are approachable to a wide range of skill sets. This has helped spread these tools across the organization and into the hands of people who are not traditional hardcore developers or ETL experts. Collaboration and data ops is another area where we are seeing a great deal of progress, where we saw individual, often standalone tools for specific use cases. We now see platforms that integrate multiple tools into unified data fabrics. So these data fabrics provide the functionality to build, publish, and reusable data artifacts like APIs, data marts, extraction pipelines, cleansing pipelines, predictive models, and more. These artifacts are then used by others to perform analytics or build and publish other artifacts.
Yeah, makes sense. And when it kind of comes to data management, what are some of the common problems that companies, tend to face?
So we frequently come across companies that still use hand-coded coding to perform data management functions. Most of the time they have in-house teams that are writing SQL scripts or some other code to do the data management functions that can easily be done by high-quality tools these days. To the extent that they use any integration tools, they are confined to large-scale data extracts or enterprise data warehouse ETL products. There is a substantial chasm between where the data resides and where it's needed. This means that data analysts often spend a great deal of time trying to locate and obtain the data that they need. This can result in the analytics tasks be delayed or abandoned altogether.
When it comes to that modern data stack, what are some common misconceptions that you see a lot of companies really tend to be making, and why is the modern data stack a lot more important than some companies seem to think it is?
The way I look at when I work with companies, the misconception that we see is they look at data stack not as what it is today, but what it was, let's say, 15 years ago, where they equate ETL tool or some data integration tool with what modern data stack is. To me, modern data stack is different. It's a set of software tools that enables individuals to build data artifacts that can be shared across the organization using a data fabric. This data fabric enables users to publish, discover, and use these artifacts by others within the organization. So a data stack then provides a company-wide repository or a marketplace, if you will, where people who understand source systems can publish curated and cleansed data that can then be used by others. These artifacts, which could be web services, data warehouses, data marts, data visualization, predictive models, among others, can be published for consumption by others. So as for why any organization would need a data stack, it's in every organization, there are people with different skill sets when it comes to data. There are people who understand source systems like ERP, manufacturing systems, others who understand services, and then there are people who are experts at building data warehouses or visualizations or analytics or ML models. A data stack helps these companies leverage these different skill sets by providing a centralized repository or a catalog of data artifacts that can be used for analytics or to create other data artifacts. What we see is that this type of collaborative environment can create a community of data users across the company that is almost like an open source data platform or a marketplace within the organization where people build on other people's work and leverage different expertise within the organization.
And to just kind of, dive into where you guys really kind of fit into this, why is it important to use a unified data management platform such as Astera's? And how does your no-code solution work?
So most organizations have their data, as I said, spread across a large collection of applications, services, on-premise and cloud stores. Meaning data, even in a medium-sized company, you would find there are so many places where data exists. To extract and process data from all these systems using hand-coded approach requires technical expertise that are hard to find, train, or retain. Code to extract, load, and process data itself is spread across all these platforms and all these languages. So not only you have data silos, you also have code silos. A no-code solution like ours opens this domain to almost anyone in the company. With a little training, most people can become experts in these tools. With a centralized data catalog, people can search the data artifacts published by other teams and use them in their own pipeline. For instance, an ERP team can publish sales data extractions in the catalog that can then be used by someone to train statistical or ML models. These models can then be used by other applications for predictive and analytical purposes. All this openness creates an environment where someone with permission can access data from anywhere within a single environment and are insulated from the complexities of dealing with individual systems.
That makes sense. And, is it quite sort of easy to implement? Because I know, a lot of companies kind of struggle with implementing these kind of things that help out with their data management. How user-friendly is it? Is it, less complicated than it seems on the surface?
So, data management, because there are different functions in data management, there is different level of complexity for different use cases. So use cases where you need to understand, let's say, an SAP system or a Microsoft Dynamics system to extract data from is reasonably more complicated than if you are dealing with data that is already extracted. So the goal of these data fabrics is to create functionalities and create features that can be used by a wide range of users in a company. So yes, you may need some more technical expertise to extract data, but once that data extraction artifacts has been created and published on the catalog, after that, it's just a matter of drag and drop for any user to use that in their analytics and in their data preparation pipelines.
That makes sense. So do you have any, success stories from happy customers that you can share with our audience?
One example that I would give is one of the largest banks in the United States. So one large bank that we work with had a 40 people team, and this team was dedicated to partner onboarding. They would get data files from partners. Their job was to receive data files from partners and map those files into their systems. It took them weeks to onboard a new partner. So when a new partner would come in, they would need to create mapping, and those mappings would be created using Access scripts or VBA scripts or Excel sheets. So we pitched them our solution, we talked to them, and we worked with them to move their entire onboarding process to our platform. About little over a year after they had adopted our platform, the team size was reduced from 40 to 5, and they were processing higher data volumes because they had automated almost all of the functions associated with onboarding new customers. So that's one example. There's another company that we work with, which is in the automotive space here in the US. And they work with automotive dealers, thousands of dealers. So their use case was slightly different, where they would get files from thousands of these automotive dealers every night. And those files they needed those files to be onboarded, mapped and onboarded before the deadline in the morning. So they're a dedicated team, onboarding team that used this homegrown mapping functionality to do their job. This team was kind of severely overwhelmed by and often unable to meet the onboarding deadlines. Adding new dealers was a long process stretching over several weeks. With Astera's intelligent mapping features, they were able to automate the entire process where files would be picked up as soon as they arrived and processed with the correct mapping rules automatically. This eliminated almost all the manual work from the process, and the company was able to scale up their volume by just merely adding more hardware.
Oh, excellent! Yeah, some really good sort of success stories there, and I think that really speaks to, in general, what the market is seeing, where we're seeing a lot more of a priority and a lot more kind of value placed on data and how companies can sort of use that and how they need to manage it. So my final question for you today is then, Ibrahim, kind of just to sum up everything that we talked about. We've obviously seen a rise in the value of data in recent years. How do you kind of see this moving forward, and how do you kind of see the data management space evolving over the next 5 to 10 years?
So I believe that data management is at the start of a long cycle.
Sure.
This area will undergo rapid advancements over the coming years. Growing popularity of AI and ML will greatly accelerate this evolution. We see several different areas where transformation is already happening. I'll just mention a couple here. One is the user experience. That is the most visible area where we're seeing a great deal of progress. There are two factors that are driving this transformation. One is the need for more people to use these data tools, both hardcore techies and business users. Another key driver that we see is that the selection of these tools is increasingly driven by the end users themselves. These users price usability and approachability over vendor brand recognition, and therefore are forcing vendors to compete on user experience. The second thing that we are seeing happening as well is the collaboration features. They are getting a lot more and more attention as companies look to build their internal data ecosystems. This means publishing and consuming artifacts in a catalog with integrated data governance. As ML framework become more accessible, data integration platform need to enable more seamless connectivity to these frameworks as well. ML ops is another area that is getting a great deal of attention. This is where we make it easier to train, deploy, monitor, retrain ML models.
Makes sense. Very, very well said there, Ibrahim. Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode. I really do appreciate your time and giving our audience, a little bit of a peek behind the curtain of data management and the kind of solutions that are out there for them.
Thank you. Glad to be here.